Okay, we're doing comment responses today. So I don't know if I mentioned this because I'm literally all over the place recently, but my regular upload schedule now is going to be Mondays and Fridays. Monday is going to be like a new topic, whatever happens to be on my mind, I guess. And then Fridays are going to be a comment response. So I'm gonna pick either one or a couple comments from you guys and just kind of like expand, I guess, whether it's on the previous video or, I don't know, a video from a few weeks ago. Basically just like anything that, I don't know, I find profound or different. I kind of want to revisit this topic of body positivity because of a lot of the comments that I received from people. Ziva, please. Anyway, so when I did this video on body positivity, I don't know if you've seen it. If not, I will, I'll pop it somewhere up here or like down below or whatever, if I remember. I often forget. So I had watched a video on Ziva. She's trying to steal my nail polish. Ziva, can you please? Please? You're a troublemaker. You're a little troublemaker, that's what you are. This is Ziva. What are you doing? You don't like it? No? She hates it. She hates to be picked up. Too bright, huh? Okay. So I did this video on body positivity. I'll link it. Just quickly, I spoke about this person named Stephanie Buttermore, and I watched one of her videos and it kind of inspired me to do that video. So all that information is in the previous video, obviously. Some of the responses that I got from people, one person said that, and I actually didn't see their response. I don't know if they responded. I couldn't find it. I did ask them a question. They said something along the lines of this, like, body positivity was hijacked by other people, that it was mostly for, like, big people, and that was it. And they said something along the lines of, like, I'm sorry, but this isn't for you, something like that. And I basically said, my response to them was, when you say it isn't for me, do you mean that, like, I shouldn't be discussing this topic? Like, I am aware that I'm not overweight. So I could see if people, think that, like, the body positivity movement, if that's what you want to call it, only refers to people who are overweight. Because I often see comments about, like, certain movements, whatever they are, people will say that they end up getting hijacked by, like, other people, kind of like adopt them. And interestingly, a lot of people also commented that the body positivity, like, movement in and of itself began with normalizing, like, disabilities, people who are, like, physically disabled, and that was hijacked by people who were overweight. And I was like, dude, I don't know where it started, okay? She's in the nail polish again. Hey. You know what I mean? So I guess what I'm curious about is, well, one of the first things that I want to say is, especially on this channel, well, of course, this entire channel, I'm not an expert. I'm not even like a particularly well-versed in any of these topics. Maybe some, not all of them. Definitely no expert. And part of this is, and especially the reason that I wanted to do kind of like these comment responses on Fridays, is so that we could kind of like continue it, and I could, I don't know, maybe show that, I take in a lot of the comments that you guys leave, especially when it's like illuminating something that I hadn't thought of. And I said, I refilmed that video because the first time I filmed it, I was like, oh, I left out so much. And then the second time I filmed it, I was like, oh, I left out so much. These are obviously really huge topics that, like, I don't know, there are so many different opinions on, whether it's like expert opinions, personal opinions, outsider opinions, or like secondary, whatever you want to call it. And I also feel like my opinions, I have like a few different ones. Like, they vary, I guess. But what was most interesting to me were, in the comments that I was receiving, so many people were trying to say, like, this isn't for this person. It's for these people. These people stole it. Or this isn't for you, you shouldn't be talking about it. Not that that girl that I mentioned, or that person that I mentioned, said that, because once again, I haven't found their response to me, if they responded. But I think the most interesting thing about it is how a movement like that, something that starts a certain way, how it evolves and how other people adopt it and how people interpret it. I don't know. I don't necessarily know whether or not that's good or bad, but from just a psychological standpoint, I think it's interesting. It's kind of like the way that language evolves. Words mean different things. People adopt them and kind of like change their meaning over time. It's an interesting thing. I don't know if any of this is making sense, but I guess that's kind of like what I took away from those comments that I was receiving. And I don't know. I mean, and obviously like I'm looking at it through my lens, right? I'm not an overweight person. I'm not someone who has like felt very personally connected to the body positivity movement. Obviously I'm not physically disabled. So whether it started that way or if it was something that like was specifically for people who were overweight, to like normalize bigger bodies, like I get it, you know? I'm neither of those things. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm curious if like you think that I shouldn't be talking about it, or if you think I'm like way off by embracing it as something that like all people can relate to. Because I do kind of think that, these sorts of movements, see, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a bad thing for everyone to embrace these things. Because I do often see like, I don't know, I'm being very general with it because I feel like this happens with a lot of like movements in general, but people will often like embrace them and then you see a lot of people saying like, this isn't for you. And I don't know, I guess I'm just curious like what your opinion of that is. Do you think there are certain things that like people just shouldn't? See, I think the biggest thing is really context and how people are like including themselves in it. Because when I think of like body positivity, I'm thinking of everyone, you know, under that umbrella. I'm thinking of like my biggest takeaway from it is just everyone is different. Everybody has a different experience. Everyone processes things differently. Where like physical bodies, none of us are going to look the same, and that's a good thing. And there shouldn't be this like one ideal that like everybody needs to adhere to. I saw a lot of like people who were in the medical field. I got a couple comments from people who were once obese and lost a lot of weight and kind of talked about like their point of view. And a lot of people who were kind of pointing out that like this normalization of obesity acceptance is unhealthy, and I'm curious what your opinions of that are, especially if you are in the medical field, because it makes sense to me that, like, I understand from a medical standpoint, someone who is trained and is an expert in like physical health, that there are like I talked about in that video where it's like objective truths, like drinking, you know, a case of Coke versus drinking a bunch of water. One is objectively healthier than the other, right? We know that. And my conclusion in that video was kind of like, ultimately, you're your own person and you choose to live your life the way you want to live it. And if it's not hurting another person, then like go for it. You know what I mean? And we shouldn't be pushing people to live however we think they should, right? Because that's just like individuality. Like, it's your life. Do with it what you want. Whatever makes you happy, whatever you want to do, that's your life. And then, you know, when it comes down to it, it's more like if you have a family member and you think they're going down the wrong path or they're hurting themselves or whatever. Now I'm being like very general. I'm not talking about like body positivity. I'm just talking like in general. Then that's like a personal thing. That's like something that should be held within families, I think. That's kind of my like overall, like with basically any, like this is relating to anything in life. No one should really be telling other people how to live. This is what happens when I sit down and make a video just like off the cuff. Basically what I'm trying to say is I think that like we should embrace people living the way they want to live. And if you have someone in your life who you're very close to and you have a problem with it, that's like a personal thing. It's not like me. I shouldn't be like walking down the street and sizing someone up and deciding that they're living their life the wrong way. That's kind of like, I guess, my philosophy you know? Because I have plenty of things that like, that I live by, that I think are important, that I want to do for me, but I don't expect other people to do them. I was thinking about raising kids. I've been thinking about that a lot. I think it shows how old I'm getting. Fucking 30, man. Anyway, I like to think about like how I'm gonna do certain things. I was thinking about like how I don't share a whole lot on the internet. This seems like a personal thing because I'm kind of just like sharing thoughts. I'm not really sharing opinions that much. I have plenty of opinions on things that I don't tell you because I'm not here to tell you how to think about something. I just want people to think about something, and I want to hear what you think about it, because hopefully that will help me form decisions or see things a different way. So I was thinking about how I don't share very personal things. Like, for example, I've been dating my boyfriend for like 3 years, and you guys don't know him. And when I say you guys, I mean like the people on my beauty channel, you know, because I've been there forever. This is obviously a newer channel, but my audience in general, they don't know my boyfriend. And that's not because I'm hiding him. It's just because like there are certain things that I'm just not interested in sharing on the internet. And I have plenty of opinions that I don't feel necessary. I don't feel that they're necessary to share on the internet. But there are these thoughts that I go through that I think everyone probably has. And they probably are looking at them in different ways. Anyway, I digress. I was thinking about raising kids. I was thinking about what I would share when I had kids and what I wouldn't. I have my own philosophies about that, and if you are interested in hearing them, I can make a video about kids and the internet and raising kids and blah, 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 whatever. We can just like talk about that. I don't know. I would be interested to get your opinions on them. Anyway, wow, gets the point. I was thinking about like raising kids and what I would and wouldn't share, would and would not share. And I started just like, you know, when you just have a whole life experience in your head when you're like washing your face or something, brushing your teeth or something. So I was thinking about like comments that I would receive if I shared something about how I chose to raise my kids or something that I was doing. Because I often hear about like mothers who happen to be on the internet. This video is no longer about body positivity. But I was just thinking about like how people love to tell, like I know parents love to tell other parents like how to parent their kids. And I just think that's really funny because to connect it back to like body positivity and assumptions and a lot of the themes that I cover on this channel, it's really just like people love to be right. They love to think they're right, and they love to tell other people what to do for some reason. And I mean, I've been there, trust me, for like the majority of my life. I would say I was very judgmental, and like if people weren't doing things the way I was doing them, they were wrong, okay? But I think a lot of it comes from just kind of like growing up and having life experiences and realizing that like the majority of people aren't doing things the way that you are, and they don't have to, and they shouldn't. So on the one hand, I saw a lot of these comments from people who were like saying that like a certain weight or obesity is just medically unhealthy. And then I saw other people saying, you know, like bigger people who were just talking about like their experiences going to the doctor and being overlooked in certain ways, which obviously I brought up in that video. And then I saw other people saying like certain big people just aren't on a journey. They're not on a journey to get to like a smaller size, which again, I don't think that's what it should be about. I don't know. I did do a video about health and fitness, just like my philosophy. I don't know if that's up yet or not, but I don't think that like anyone should be, you know, eating a certain way or being physical in a certain way just to be a smaller size. I think that's like weird. The biggest thing should just be like that you feel good. And if you know, have some extra fat on you, then like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, enjoy that pasta. Who gives a shit? This is your life. And if you, like, you should choose to spend it on this earth the way that you want, I think. I don't know. Am I like, I know I was kind of like all over the place because it's sort of, I don't know, this is the evolution of that topic. That's kind of like how it went in my mind. This wasn't really a planned video, so you can kind of see how thoughts develop. and how all over the place I can be. But I'm very curious if we can keep this topic going with my original questions in the beginning of the video. Do you think that it is, do you think it's very important to know the origin of a movement, whatever it may be? Do you think it's bad when it evolves, when other people adopt it? What do you think? What do you think? And what do you think about, like, what does body positivity mean to you? Do you think that it's meant for like a certain person? Do you think that certain people shouldn't be discussing it? Do you think I'm like way off by even talking about it? Because I don't know. I'm open. Hey, great talk.